Morning world. It's the 30th of June 2025. It's about 7:30 in the morning UK time. I don't know when they'll turn this live, at some stage today. Firstly, Wednesday the 2nd of July, 9:45, 9:46 a.m. Dig around. See what you find. And thank you to all of those people, there's a few of you now, who have sent me videos of you going, hello world, or catch you later world. This has turned into a meme. And I'm collecting these videos now, and we're going to put something out on this. I don't quite know how it's going to work yet, but we're building a collection of all of these videos. This started as a result of some great people in Evesham who said, "Oh, we're doing this," and I thought, "Oh, let's make something of this." And no, I'm not going to go down the tacky route of sweatshirts. There are people who want to do T-shirts and mugs with "Hello World" on, and yeah, I would endorse this. And but just put Steve Judd Astrology on the bottom, and we might do this, because if there's enough interest, we will do this. So if you're interested, just write it up in the comments section. I realise it's a bit tacky, but it might be fun. I've just completed doing the forecasts for July for a site that I do monthly forecasts for, and it's becoming more and more obvious to me that this is a month of really big change. I know I've done a July forecast, but this is a little addendum to it, because I've got a different perspective than when I recorded July video, which is only a few days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. With Neptune going retrograde in about 3 or 4 days' time, and then Saturn going retrograde in the second week of July, and with Uranus changing sign at the end of the first week of July, it's pretty clear that the ground underneath our feet collectively is shifting and changing. Uranus moving into Gemini is a monster, and I've got a video coming out on that in the next few days. It's already recorded, and that will be out before Uranus moves into Gemini. But with Saturn and Neptune both in the first couple of degrees of Aries, just about to start going retrograde, much of the changes of this year are now moving into a period of more reassessment, reconsideration, reevaluation, retrospect, because they're going retrograde. So we're going to start noticing the impact and the effects at an internal level rather than an external. But when you mix that with Uranus moving into Gemini at the same time, it suggests a totally new way of thinking. A different way, a different perception, a different way of seeing the world. Now, all of these 3 planets are slow moving, groundbreaking, but slow moving. So it's like, it's nothing going to happen in the first couple of weeks that's going to be radical or or revolutionary, although there's a lot fermenting. But the second half of this month, we have this new moon in Leo that's opposite Pluto. It's also very strongly sextiling Uranus and very strongly trining Saturn and Neptune. So on the one hand, a lovely new moon at the start of Leo, trining Saturn, Neptune. That's going to be bringing a lot of lovely energy into the impetus to create something imaginal, something new, with new boundaries. You know, nation states are beginning to sort of realise that it's not about borders anymore. I'm coming up with some new ideas in this last week or two And those of you who are intelligent enough to follow that prompt I gave you earlier are going to get the full benefit of this in a couple of days. But post-nation communities, that's an interesting phrase. We're also, with that new moon sextiling Uranus, is a new way of wanting to see the world. We're going to start seeing new ideas, new opportunities, new doorways opening. This involves a lot of youth. However, the new moon is also directly opposite Pluto. So there's going to be a lot of opposition from the dinosaurs who want the world to remain the way it's always been because it's convenient to them. I'm talking about the old men in the religions, the old mullahs, the old Zionists, the old Scientologists, the old politicians, the old bankers, corporate leaders, those who have 2,000 years of structuring the world the way they want it to be so that they're at the top of the food chain. I'm not preaching revolution. I'm certainly not preaching anarchy or in any shape or form aggression or violence. I am suggesting that empires crumble, inevitably. One of the things I've realised through all the study I've done is that empires crumble. No empire lasts forever. The longest empire was the Babylonian Empire, and they gave us such magnificent astrological grounding. They gave us 25 generations more, 750 years of observations of planets in the sky. They gave us the grounding for aspects and signs in planets. We owe them everything from an astrological perspective, but their empire crumbled, as did the Greeks, as did the Romans. And we're at a time of empirical change. This is why I've come up with this new idea just in this last few days. It came out of my mouth a few days ago, and as far as I know, no one's ever used it before. The mycelium of consciousness. There seems to be a groundswell of recognising that in certain ways we are all connected. And that actually we've always been connected. We've just had it ground out of us by the indoctrination that was necessary in order for us to get to this point of acceleration and revolution of consciousness. But we don't need the priests to tell us how to believe or what to believe or how to interface with the divine anymore. We don't need a lot of the imposed rigidity of structures that we've now still got, which are so archaic. And I think that this month is going to bring some startling changes, even though it's a Mercury retrograde, of course. Damn Mercury retrograde. But it's the results of this won't become apparent till late August. And I do hear so many of you, and you say, look, the thing is with astrology, it's always jammed tomorrow. But these are forecasts, not predictions. And if any of you want to assume this, I'm quite happy for you to just assume that this is just the ramblings of an old man who's caught up in believing in the planet's influence our lives. And what a load of old rubbish. Fine. This is I'm well aware of how many people are suffering in the world. I'm well aware of all the warfare and the violence and the aggression and the hatred that's being driven by the desire for power and greed. I'm also well aware that even in the stable countries that people are struggling to put food in their mouths. And that comes before any existential or astrological considerations, obviously. But the ideas of the future, every future starts with an idea. And I have to think of the long-term potential for the species as well as individual goals and ambitions. And more than ever, that time of species acceleration and evolution is upon us. So don't make any massive changes in your lives. Hey, we're heading into a Mercury retrograde. Of course, don't make big changes. But think freer. Think outside the box. Consider options. Support the revolution of consciousness that's happening. Support their youth in their desire for more autonomy and freedom in those countries of the world where they're being suppressed. We're heading into a pretty interesting month, different to any month so far this year. And I suspect that by the time we're into the second half of August, the world's going to be a very different place. And I am just waiting for the scatological theatre that's coming up, watching the old guard trying to keep up. Those of you who have ever emailed me and got an email back, you know that my catchphrase is negativity can't exist where there's humour. And this is the ramblings of an insane, deranged man who just finds humour in the stupidity of the world around him. Probably. Or possibly. But find the joy. What have you got to lose? You can spend the rest of your life bitching and whinging and complaining about how hard the world is, how much you're suffering, how hard you're working, how unappreciated you feel, how alone you are. My life is crap. Poor me, I'm a victim. Who can I blame? Or you can find the joy in your heart and make the world a better place. Just through your own efforts. It all starts with a dream and a thought and an intention. And that all begins with a smile. Catch you later, world. Bye.